Blessed love, welcome in everyone. How you guys doing? If you guys decided to hit that subscribe, like, share, thank you for tuning in. You could be elsewhere, but you're here with me right now, so really appreciate that. This was actually a request sent to me via PayPal. I'm trying to get all my paid requests out today. So sorry for those that have taken a bit long. Tell everyone within 4 or 5 days I will have it posted. This is kind of a change, and I do like these kind of I won't say reaction because I'm reacting to it, but these kind of topics. So we're gonna be doing by Hip Hop Madness, why Dr. Dre never respected the game. Okay, so yeah, I could say so much, but let's let the video go through. Game used to be one of my favorite rappers of all time. I don't care. He was one of my favorite rappers. I won't say I'd have him up there with the greats, but at the time when it came for bar, yeah. And then over time, just gradually started to not lose interest, but lose respect for a lot of the gimmicks and stuff that's been said over time. You know what I mean? Like, you know, your favorite rapper from back in the days is not usually your favorite rapper today. You know what I mean? Right now at this present moment. Yeah, so let's see what we are saying here.
If the Pop-Out concert was a triumphant moment for West Coast rap, the exclusion of the game speaks volumes for how far he's fallen in the eyes of his peers and his mentor, Dr. Dre. Judging Game on his antics over the last few years, you could be forgiven for forgetting just how pivotal he was to West Coast rap in the post-Death Row era. Because back in 2005, the Game almost single-handedly resurrected the coast. 5 times platinum, critically acclaimed, and Grammy-nominated, the Game's debut album, The Documentary, is undoubtedly one of the best hip-hop albums of all time. Essentially, if the mission was to bring LA rap back to the forefront, it was a flawless victory. Yep. But things went wrong, very wrong. And today, it seems the Game is a rapper Dr. Dre would rather erase from his legacy. So how does a rapper who was capable of so much musically and culturally end up snubbed and shunned by the man who gave him a shot and launched his career? Let's find out. Signed in 2003 to a joint venture with Interscope and Aftermath, Dr. Dre basically equipped the Game with every tool to succeed. A co-sign from Dre, a star-studded feature lineup, and a brief but impactful alliance with 50 Cent and G-Unit, which was actually orchestrated by Dre and Jimmy Iovine. The Game's debut album, The Documentary, was destined to be a success, and that's exactly what it went on to become. With the success of The Documentary and 50 Cent becoming the most profitable artists in the game at the time, it seemed like Dre's new stable of artists were ready to take over the industry.
Now let's say, man, when this album came out, bro, I don't care what no one says. This album was it was needed. Nobody heard nothing from West Coast for a bit, you know what I mean? And then when Game dropped this, bro, it was like, yo, this was bopping everywhere, in the club, in the hood, man, everywhere.
Industry together. But Game's relationship with 50 took a turn, and after a very public beef, Game's departure from G-Unit would put the first major strain on his relationship with Dre. And with so many millions of dollars at stake, Dre had to make a business decision that pretty much sabotaged his work with the Game.
Financially and infrastructurally, he had to take sides with who Jimmy took sides with, which was 50. It made sense because that's where the bulk of the money was being made. And so at that point, you didn't want to 50 off because he was the breadwinner. Everybody chose sides, but I did the doctor's advocate. No one thought it was coming out. They thought I was done until one night in New York when I recorded One Blood. And I went to Funk Flex, and I went to Clue, and I went to K-Slay, Angie, and I went to every club, linked up with Jim. He took me to Harlem. We dropped it off in every club. I walked in every club, I bought bottles in every club, and I made One Blood crush. So by the time I got back to the West Coast, they were begging me to finish the album. And that's where me and 50's relationship really went left, because he didn't like the support that I was getting from the building.
Man, and the other thing too, his inconsistencies and stories. I've heard so many stories here, and there's been many times that they keep changing. The story keeps changing, you know what I mean? So let's go.
Proving that he could stand on his own 2 feet with 2006's The Doctor's Advocate, which was released just a year after his debut, the Game did the near impossible by proving to the world that he could still deliver a stellar album without either Dre's guiding hand or 50 essentially handing him a whole host of hooks on some of the biggest records on The Documentary. But behind the scenes, it turns out Dre and the Game still had a healthy relationship, because by the time 2011's The Red album released, Game revealed that Dre was still giving him vital feedback.
Just because Dre wasn't on the production side of my second and third album doesn't mean that I didn't talk to Dre. Me and Dre had the same relationship. Dre always told me, no matter what happens, no matter what is said in the media, me and you are always going to be the same as we were the last time we had an in-person conversation.
Right, because I think in 2010, you posted a picture where you're wearing a bunch of Aftermath chains, and you say, it's funny how things come full circle. Didn't you say you're going back to Aftermath at that point?
No, it was basically, that was my ode to Dre, just saying that, like, I'm always going to be Aftermath no matter what.
And for years, this was the game's outlook when it came to Dr. Dre. No matter how long he went without...
If you're going to be Aftermath, you're going to be Aftermath. End of. Not none of this bullshit, how many years later going at everybody who's on Aftermath. But not everybody at that. Well, yeah, because you went to, you're going at G-Unit, going at M, like... So I guess that was your problem right there, really, was M, 50 Cent, and them lot.
Being officially signed to him, Game maintained an unwavering loyalty to Dre in a way that he's never really exhibited to anybody. And even if he admitted that there were some tense moments, the gratitude overshadowed it.
And sometimes Dre me off, man. And sometimes I Dre off. But that's one of them things. Dre told me a long time ago, me and you are always going to be the way that we left off. Whatever happens in between, all of that. That's I got nothing but love for Dre, man. Everything that he did for me, I'm very appreciative.
At times, he even flexed that he could get him on the phone at a moment's notice during interview. But these days, that call would likely ring out, and that's because the game has systematically ruined his ties with the Doc and the whole Aftermath family. And what's more, this could have all been avoided if he wasn't so controlled by emotion in an industry that requires strategy and thought. So when he only briefly appeared on one track from Dre's Compton LP, some fans did find this a tad bit strange. However,
Man said a guy driven by emotions. Ain't it funny that we here talking about Game, but then he was on another track with a guy that caused drama why all this has happened and he ain't had a pop-out album with another person who's controlled by their emotions. Drake. And you took Drake's side, so it's like both of them kind of fit each other. Their personalities is why they friends, you know what I mean? Like, come on now.
However, when it was announced that Dre would oversee the Super Bowl halftime show in 2022, it was expected that he'd play a career-spanning set, which featured many of the artists he'd mentored. On the big night, he brought out Snoop, Eminem, Anderson .Paak, Kendrick Lamar, and a slightly chubby 50 Cent. Meanwhile, the Game was left on the sidelines in his own city. To begin with, Game kept it civil and acted like it didn't faze him at all. I ain't had no conversations with nobody regarding Jay-Z and the Super Bowl halftime show he put together. He wrote on IG, I don't feel no way about not being included. It was a great show featuring iconic artists. It was a win for the culture. And in other interviews, he seemed to try to shift the blame to Jay as opposed to Dre.
You gotta look at the Super Bowl, right? Hov put it together, and so he picked the artist that he thought was fit for the Super Bowl that he was in charge of putting together, right?
But with everything,
I never understand when I saw certain people come up with that ski mask. I'm like, yo, bro, we already know who you are. It's the ones that you don't know, you're like, yo, bro, who's that? I don't know why you're wearing it, and then you try to do your research to find out who it is. But when you already know who you are and already got your picture everywhere, like, what's the point putting on a ski mask, man? Real talking, maybe it's me, I'm missing something here.
The thing we know about Game's mindset, it seemed like only a matter of time until it all spilled out. And finally, he admitted that it got to him.
Snoop is an icon. Dre is an icon. M is an icon, but M is not from LA. 50 is not from LA, and I'm not taking away from the fact that they were on the Super Bowl, but LA have been on a Detroit Super Bowl or a New York Super Bowl. It just wouldn't have happened. LA, all around the Super Bowl, and I don't get the call.
From that moment on, a switch was flicked, and the floodgates were now open for the Game to finally cross the line that he'd never had before, and that was to discredit Dr. Dre. Suddenly, the rapper who had previously written a heartfelt tribute to Dre on his second album was now downplaying Dre's impact on his career and life as if it were nothing.
Dre didn't do any beats on the documentary, but I didn't say he didn't oversee it. You want Dre to oversee anything because he's a mastermind when it comes to that. But as far as like doing a beat for the documentary, no. And I've never had a Dre beat in my career. I've never had a song.
Did he just say that? I've never had a Dre beat in my... Yo, my G, you kind of flip-flopping here. Flip-flopping like a motherfucker. Nah.
See anything because he's a mastermind when it comes to that. But as far as like doing a beat for the documentary, no. And I've never had a Dre beat in my career. I've never had a song with Dre on it and Dre been in my video. Snoop has a ton. M has a ton. I don't have none.
Soon, he was claiming that Kanye West, a man who Game had openly beefed with over writing explicit lyrics about Ye's then-wife, Kim Kardashian, had done more for his career than Dre ever did.
It's crazy that Ye did more for me in the last 2 weeks than Dre did for me my whole career.
Naturally, the world collectively eyeballed at this comment, while those who were there firsthand at Aftermath made sure to tell everybody he was out of pocket.
When you see Game say, yo, Dre never did nothing for me. I remember Dre being in the studio and giving you them hits, bro.
Suddenly doing to Dre what he'd done to so many others before, Game had now disparaged the man who signed him in front of the whole world. And with that, he had come to terms with the fact that one drunken rant cost him his most.
You can't do that, bro. You can't do that, bro. We're talking about Dr. Dre. I'm not saying he's perfect, he's a human being just like all of us, yeah? But you can't shit and bite the hand that feeds you, bro. Shit in the hand or bite the hand that feeds you. You're taking the piss, bro.
Valued connection in hip-hop. And now he's tried to walk it back while trying to save face at the same time.
So basically, I was a little inebriated, and I said some things that I meant. I'm not gonna take it back. I ain't no sucker. But having Dre do anything for your project, anything in your career, touch any part of anything that you're doing in life is such a blessing that I shall not ever on that again. And I haven't talked to Dre since. It don't really matter if we talk again in life. Like, I'm a stand-up, Compton, LA, and it is what it is. It's just that I should have gave him more grace with what he actually did do, and that was mentoring me.
You fucked up. You know what I'm saying? No, I don't care if we ever speak again. Like, you see all that, brothers, like, it's like giving an apology and then turning around and going, but. You just made the apology void. You just voided it. Because now, why the but? It's voided. It's not even an apology no more.
And do things that nobody else could have done for me in my career. When I was talking on there, I was speaking in terms of what Ye was doing right at that moment, which was life-changing for me. And then I based it on Dre's lack thereof, because I took the business part personal, and I should have left it business. But Dre is Dre, bro. We all know what Dr. Dre do.
In the aftermath of the Super Bowl snub, Game has clearly internalized a lot of animosity towards Dre. And now he's using it as a lens to explain some of his actions, like saying his diss towards Eminem was just another way to get back at Dre.
Throwing shots at Eminem and beefing with Eminem. It was just me being upset with Dr. Dre. Dr. Dre can't out-rap me, so I just went at him, just because that's just how I get sometimes.
If this was an isolated incident, then perhaps Dre would be able to let it go. But
not.
In actual fact, it's part of a larger pattern of behavior, which has defined and ultimately destroyed Dre's respect for the game. Because just like he went at M as a
serious bipolar behavior, bro.
Proxy for Dre, Game has also sought to undermine Kendrick in ways that land somewhere between jealousy and anger over
Drake,
how he feels Dre is.
That's what I'm saying with that whole Drake situation, bro. Listen to me. That was that. All right, the whole 50 Dre. You know what I mean? You could all count it down to people being jealous, feeling they're not getting a good whatever. You know what I'm saying? Bit pissed off with that, but it is what it is. Sometimes family fall out, you know. But then, bro, when you bring in somebody from out of town, not even the States, bro, out of town, cross the border, in a different country, well, not really a different country, but to your hood, knowing that he has an issue with Kendrick, who's from your hood, to try and make it look like you co-signing him, and Drake's all inside there doing gang signs and whatever. I'm not doing it because I don't know, and I'm not trying to take the piss, not trying to mock it anyway, you know what I'm saying? But he was inside there throwing up blood signs and shit, bro. Yeah, my respect started to do this. I was like, yo, fam, what are you doing, blood? Like, you do anything for money, bro? I looked at Drake like, bro, you playing dangerous games, you know. But who am I to speak? Y'all can hit me down in the comments. Let me know when you first started to lose respect for a game. You know what I'm saying? And while you're there, you guys can also let me know when you first started to lose respect for Drake. You know, I think this was when I started. I started to wake up. I started to see a certain pattern. But when I saw that, I remember that song too. I think it was 100 bars or 100 something, 100 something. I don't know, something like that.
Overlooked him. Saluted on Black Boy Fly by Kendrick as a rapper he'd always looked up to, Game was there when the torch was passed to K-Dot by Snoop. Over the years, Kendrick collaborated with the game on several tracks, and by all accounts, it looked like these two West Coast artists were on good terms. But what was notable is that at every turn, whether in the spirit of competitiveness or jealousy, it's as though the game has tried to downplay Kendrick's skills.
Can't nobody in Compton out rap game. Kendrick do it. I love that to death. I flew past Kendrick when that was on foot in a Range Rover and showed him how to do it. Don't play with game name. Hardest in Compton, rapping, lyricist, me.
Once again, the game has let liquor do the talking and fostered a potential problem with a fellow protege of Dre. And while this may have potentially contributed to Dre's gradual distancing from the game,
I passed a nigga in my fucking range or whatever while he was walking. That's you flossing on somebody, bro. You flossing on them. You making them look small. There's no need for that shit.
What really didn't help his case was refusing to stand by the West Coast when it came to the Kendrick and Drake beef. While Dre was out there providing the intro to Not Like Us, the game actively took Drake's side. This isn't anything new though, because previously, the game sat on the fence and claimed that Drake didn't take shots at Kendrick on their collab track 100.
Yeah, I didn't feel like that, and if I did, I wouldn't put a song out. Like I said, Kendrick's my brother. I love him too. But if Drake was subliminal and slick,
he's slick with that.
Again, yeah, like he one of the best that ever do it. So
are you supposed to be able to pick up on that?
Now, no one is saying that the game can't openly support Drake, but with subliminal shots this obvious, it does raise some eyebrows. But things go further, as recently the game basically initiated himself into Drizzy's OVO camp when at the height of the K-Dot beef, he took to IG and played Drake's Enemy from 2015 alongside the caption, "Too many fake rappers I gotta pretend I liked." Later, he admitted that it came down to the fact that he saw Drake as his brother. However, some wondered if he was still so embittered towards Dre and the Aftermath camp that he was now renouncing his Compton roots. And when he wasn't in attendance at Kendrick's pop-out show that essentially unified the West Coast, people started asking questions.
My DMs and all on these blog sites and whatnot, talking about the West Coast ain't with you, and
I remember
you
this.
ain't this, and you ain't that, and you siding with this. As
far
as my relationship with Drake is my brother. My loyalty is what mother is loyal to me. Don't put my name in unless you hear me say it. Anybody that know me know.
I'm loyal to motherfuckers that are loyal to me, so that means you're trying to say your loyalty is with Drake then. Obviously you ain't at the pop out, you weren't at the Super Bowl, so you ain't loyal to none of those guys who made you where you are today. You're loyal to who's loyal to you right now, which is a fair statement in life. But then when you're basing your loyalty or disloyalty toward those people on everything else but your actions that made them disloyal to you, you are the problem.
No, I ain't got no problem saying how I feel about no. And Drake, that's my brother. And Kendrick, that's the homie, he know what it is.
Homie, yeah.
Despite Game's attempts to control his narrative, it's easy to see why Dre no longer respects him. From dissing nearly every major rapper associated with Aftermath, along with his unpredictable nature, Dre has learned that dealing with the game comes with a whole host of potential hazards, with disloyalty and ungratefulness being chief among them. And honestly, we don't blame him.
Yeah, we don't. We don't. Fucking up my money, bro. That's what you're doing, fucking up his money. You know, real talk here, man. I start looking at game differently, because it's just like, bro, you pissed off with Dre, so you go at everybody else. And then he flips some flops with his stories, that kind of borderline fucking bipolar. You know what I'm saying? Yeah, as I said, thank you for this request. Who sent this to me? I do like doing reactions to these kind of, you know what I mean, deep dive into the culture, see what's happening in hip-hop. This is where I sometimes get my news from. Then even though I'll be coming off and going to fact check in a few things, you know, I do like to fact check. But yeah, if you guys need to try and get in touch with me to do requests, look in the description. Most people would message me on Instagram first. And yeah, thank you for tuning in. Hope everyone is doing well, safe out there. And I'll see each and every one of you on the next reaction. Please subscribe, like, and share. Really helps me out. And stay blessed.